Want to be the first real African champ.
As a product of colonization, you're trying to tell me.
I never said they were African or I was more African. Adesanya is one of the greatest middleweights to ever walk this earth.
He's behaving like a clown in there. No, that's not how a champion behaves. That's not how a man behaves. He's behaving like a child.
You're gonna beat him until he's black?
Yeah, on that. You'd be a real African then.
It's no secret these two don't like each other, but have you ever wondered why? Something about who's more African, or being a true African champion, or is it deeper than that? Well, I posted a photo of Dricus Du Plessis after his extremely impressive win over Robert Whittaker at UFC 290, and my main man Tim commented on the post saying, "You should make a short or something breaking down his and Izzy's beef and how it progressed. I'm low-key confused where it started and who's in the wrong. So I'll do you one better, my man, and try to explain it in its entirety because it goes much deeper than what we saw in the cage last weekend." To get a grasp on this beef, we have to go back 10 years ago when these two first met, a training session at the legendary Tiger Muay Thai gym in Thailand. In an interview Izzy did with Ariel Helwani, he revealed that he had a sparring match with Dricus when he was only 19 years old. He said Dricus out-wrestled him in the first round, but ultimately Izzy whooped his butt. He also said in this interview that when Dricus came to the UFC, he was originally excited because there was another African in the promotion.
Oh, another African in the UFC, this is cool.
Dricus confirmed the training session in an interview he did with the Schmo, but denied that they ever did any striking. Dricus said that he manhandled him in the grappling, but they never had a striking round, which Israel is insinuating that they did. Dricus said he believes that's Izzy's way of, quote, saving himself. Fast forward 10 years later, Dricus was not only signed to the UFC, but is undefeated in the promotion. And at his post-fight interview after defeating Derek Brunson, this is truly when things got ignited between him and the champ.
Want to be the first real African champ, trained, born, bred in Africa.
A reporter asked Dricus if he's bummed out that there isn't as many African champions, as Kamaru Usman had just lost his belt and Francis Ngannou was long gone chasing that PFL bag. And honestly, we may have this reporter to thank for this entire beef being started, because without this question, we would have never gotten this response.
Did those belts ever go to Africa? As far as I know, it came to America and New Zealand. We train in Africa, we're African born, we're African raised, we still reside in Africa, we train out of Africa. That's an African champion, and that's who I'll be.
Dricus got serious fast about the idea of African champions and sent shots without saying names, but his message was crystal clear. Although Kamaru Usman, Israel Adesanya, and Francis Ngannou were all born in Africa, they all moved away before getting that UFC gold. Now, Francis Ngannou is a clear exception because he literally escaped Cameroon on a boat as an adult to chase his dreams, but since he's no longer in the UFC, he's not really a part of this. But Izzy and Usman both left Nigeria as children due to their parents relocating, so Dricus' criticism is that they trained, lived, and earned their belt on non-African soil, while he's been a native South African his whole life. Although all three of these guys literally brought the physical belt back to Africa, they eventually all left back to the States and New Zealand. But DDP's whole point is that he isn't leaving South Africa ever, and this seemed to really bother Israel Adesanya, but Kamaru Usman, not so much. A bit of a side note, but Kamaru Usman actually responded to Dricus' comments as well. At the UFC 286 media day, he said, "I understand what he's trying to say, but I think the one thing he's failing to realize is, just because I go to China, and my parents are in China, and I'm raised in China, that doesn't make me more Chinese than people from China. And just because you went over to South Africa and you were raised there, that doesn't make you African." But according to Wikipedia, although the Du Plessis family is of French descent, Dricus was born in South Africa and has been there his whole life. Israel Adesanya's response to Dricus' comments weren't nearly as lighthearted. The first time Izzy brought it up was at the post-fight presser after he had beat Alex Pereira at UFC 287. Israel called him out without using his name, starting things off by saying he didn't want to give this dude any clout, and then right after he said he wanted to whoop him in South Africa or Nigeria. He ended his mini rant by saying, I
pray to God he keeps winning. I will gladly drag his carcass across South Africa.
Shortly after, Izzy was talking about this on his YouTube channel, saying he has never questioned Dricus as an African, but he was upset by his comments because he felt Dricus was trying to tell him who he was. He called him one of these, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word on YouTube, and he also said, as a product of colonization, you're trying to tell me who I am. You can take the boy out of Africa, but you can't take Africa out the boy.
You're gonna beat him until he's black?
Yeah. You'd be a real African then.
Dricus went on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani after that and cleared up any confusion about his African comments when Ariel asked him, insisting that he has never said he was more African than any of the three champions, which has been a common narrative a part of this whole drama.
I never said they weren't African or I was more African. Of course they're African. And I respect them a whole lot. I mean, Usman is one of the greatest to ever do it. Adesanya is one of the greatest middleweights to ever walk this earth.
Izzy said in the same video on his YouTube channel that he praised Dricus' wins against Robert Whittaker, and then right after Dricus won, you could see Israel getting hyped and telling Leon Edwards that he manifested this. Then that leads us here, to this super messy moment in the cage at UFC 290, where it seemed Izzy may have had a few drinks, calling Dricus his African brother, among other things. If you haven't seen this whole post-fight interview, go to the UFC's channel and watch it. It's pretty saucy. At the post-fight press conference, Dricus said Izzy made a fool of himself, which although Dana White didn't seem to care at all, it actually seems like a lot of fans did. Dricus said, quote, "He's behaving like a clown in there. That's not how a champion behaves. That's not how a man behaves. He's behaving like a child." The day after UFC 290, Izzy tweeted, "If you ain't my brother, you ain't African. I will show you where you're from." And then he tweeted, "I called him a salty snack. They got mad. I called him a word I definitely can't say, and they got madder. Lesson, you can't please people." And as I was editing this video, Israel Adesanya posted a new video to his Instagram about this whole thing with the interview clips of Dricus saying, "Don't play the victim now, stand on your original statement, say it with your chest. I never discredited you as a real African, you tried to discredit 3 real African UFC champions. You started this and I will finish this. That's not a threat, that's a promise." And then he also made the thumbnail of the video of, I guess, Dricus kissing his coach? Bruh. And that's where the beef lies, my friends. It's pretty clear Dricus is up next for the title, so obviously after this video is posted, there's going to be some more high tension moments, but if you didn't know, now you know. Please subscribe for more videos just like this.